Hi, and welcome to another installment of A Day in the Life of Interstitial Cystitis and Fibromyalgia Recovery. I'm particularly happy to bring this one to you because I had a breakthrough in my recovery, a real milestone day, so let's go ahead and see what happened. This is my absolute favorite health update to record to this point because yesterday I almost had a totally pain-free day for the first time in 26 years. Prior to this, I'd had pain from either interstitial cystitis, fibromyalgia, or the severe neuropathic damage I sustained from autoimmune attacks, and the best I'd felt, even during my almost 6 years of recovery, still featured about 2 hours of pain on a day. Yesterday, I only had a little bit of tingling in my shoulders and in my face, and the rest of the day was glorious. I'm going to record a video about why I think this happened yesterday, and today's been really great too, so I can't wait to see what lies ahead for my health. The brief moments of pain that I had, they were just in the morning. I woke up with the typical sort of occipital and nerve irritation that I would get from lying on the pillow overnight, and then it was gone. It was smooth sailing. I cruised all the rest of the day, and considering it was the day after lifting, that was very surprising because it's quite common for me to get a bit of a nerve irritation headache through my eyebrows, and I didn't have that all day. It just felt awesome. What was really surprising is that I had no pain increase at night either whenever my cortisol dips, because cortisol dips naturally at night to try and help you get to sleep. But a lot of people think that cortisol is a really inflammatory chemical, and that's true if it's firing all the time, but whenever it's in proper balance, it actually keeps your inflammation down and can be pain relieving. So my typical experience, now that my hormones are balanced, is that throughout the day, my pain's doing pretty good, and then the last hour or two, it'll show up and make it a little bit more difficult to fall asleep, maybe need to do some deep breathing, but it didn't happen at all that night, so I was thrilled to see that. In the rest of this video, I'll discuss what I think led to this breakthrough, because I think it'll be useful for other people with chronic health problems to see what it's taken to come back from very severe symptoms and pain, and even the breakthrough type moments where things are nice and stable where they have been for the last couple of years, and what took me to the next level. We have to start by talking about my foundational health habits because they have been essential to my progress. Now, the hardest part of my recovery was the very beginning, whenever I was trying to figure out baselines for things like how long should I sit, how long should I stand, what kind of movement's appropriate for me, and how long should I do it, what's the right diet for me, and so on. I've had these things dialed in for years now, and I think they're the bedrock that make all progress possible with a chronic health problem, and things that people really overlook as important while they're pursuing medications or functional medicine testing or protocols. But it's my experience in working with myself and with clients now, is that if you don't have these fundamental things in place, you're getting nowhere in your recovery. You have to figure out the right diet for you, you have to figure out stress management strategies, you have to know what kind of exercise is appropriate for you, you gotta be getting good sleep and proper sunshine, you also need to be mitigating environmental toxin exposure through your self-care products and your cookware, you need to know what your triggers are for symptoms, and so on. My top 4 most important contributors from habits right now are from my diet, from deep breathing, from movement, and from sleep. I'm keto right now and have been for the last couple of years, but I was starting out on the autoimmune protocol diet with histamine restrictions for the first couple of years, and then I transitioned into a moderate carb paleo diet and then did 5-day water fasting. I got up to 17 of those, and that's what really got me into a good place dietarily. For deep breathing, I find one 15-minute session per day really grounds me, and I take a lot of micro pauses throughout the day, like between work calls or prior to exercise, with the big session coming before bed. And whenever it comes to movement, I never sit for more than 50% of any day, and that really helps keep the IC and pelvic pain away, and I stand, walk, or otherwise exercise the rest of my time. And I love movement, whether it's lifting weights or bouldering or running. All those things are awesome for me now and help my pain quite a lot. And my body's to the point now with nerve pain that I barely get any pins and needles, maybe in the bottoms of my feet or in my legs occasionally where it's a 1 or a 2, and one of the reasons why I like movement so much is that's enough stimulation, it completely goes away as soon as I start moving. For sleep, I'm always aiming for at least 7 hours of sleep, but it doesn't always happen, and if I'm short, then I will try and sleep 30 minutes in the morning, just a little bit late, and I've worked that into my work schedule so it doesn't interfere with anything. But beyond that, no, I won't mess with my sleep schedule, because having naps and such throws things off with the circadian biology so much. I just don't find it to be a very good idea. It seems like it throws things off for the longer term. There were a few new developments that occurred too that helped me reach this breakthrough with my pain. And the first thing being, I got over the COVID infection I contracted the day before Thanksgiving. I was on top of the world before I came down with that. And while the infection wasn't that bad, it broke my 155-day pain-free time streak. And finally, the week before this breakthrough, I managed to get back to where I was beforehand by taking a vacation from work. I found that all the hours I was spending on with clients on Zoom was really draining me to talk that much, and either work or workouts kept knocking me down, so I needed a few days off. And now I'm not quite so pale from being indoors all the time, and my voice is definitely stronger. And most importantly about getting over the COVID infection, I noticed my overall inflammation levels were way down, so baseline pain had dropped down a couple of numbers, and the amount of time that I was in pain each day was shortening, and it was getting back to that couple-hour mark that I was achieving right before the infection. I also brought coffee back. Now, coffee's one of those things where I'm actually a good processor of caffeine genetically, but my nervous system had been hypersensitive for so long due to the pain that it was hard to bring it back. So it was a couple-year process of bringing it back, and I immediately thought, I'm going to get rid of this whenever I came down with COVID, but was very happy to bring it back for the pleasure and just the good biochemistry and the nutrients that are in coffee. Another thing that I'd done differently lately, I've been using the neuroscience principle of teasing my pain, even with my wheelchair cushion that I traditionally have been sitting on. That thing has saved me in all sorts of social situations, and even at home. It helps on some softer chairs, but I've been doing without it a lot more here. Very graded at first, but the last 3 social outings I've done without it, and I haven't had pain creeping up, so I think that's another sign that my body's just improving and the nerves down there are getting quieter. Scaling back my cushion use is really one of the final frontier things for me, because I've tried in the past and not had a lot of success, so I just filed it in the background and said, I'll try that again in the future, and I'll see where it's going, because now I'm not needing it in soft chairs, but I'm still needing it in the really hard chairs that you find in places like coffee shops, so I can't wait to see where that goes. And the last major change I made that was new was I dropped weighted chin-ups from my routine. Now, this was a little bit of a relic from my weightlifting about a year ago, where I started out on bench press day by doing bench press, biceps curls, and then chin-ups and weighted chin-ups, because the nerves in my shoulders were so pained by that exercise I had to work up very slowly. I was even doing ice baths afterwards, killing some of the muscle growth in order to bring some of the pain down. And eventually the pain got low enough that I could bring in pull-ups and eventually weighted pull-ups. But I didn't omit the weighted chin-ups whenever I added those, and it occurred to me that perhaps I was having some overtraining with post-workout headaches the day after, so I omitted the chin-ups, and lo and behold, the day before this pain breakthrough was a day where I had eliminated those chin-ups, so it certainly seems like overtraining was the culprit there. But most importantly for this pain breakthrough, I had an absolute surge of endorphins in the week before while I was on vacation. It started whenever I was having great times with my family. It wasn't just a break from work to rest. It was a blast, and it was deeply refueling. It was essentially my holidays, and why my videos releases are behind right now, because I took the first week of January off, and I just had a wonderful week, and the distance it got me from everything I was doing allowed me to reflect on how well my life was going and really appreciate everything even more and get back to things with a really good attitude. Another really good source of endorphins for me was the return of exercise endorphins, because I finally got past the COVID inflammation that was causing me to, when I first returned to try to lift weights the first 4 times, I was having to take a lot of days off in between, and essentially was starting over at the beginning each time with working out, where I was having lots of muscle damage, tons of achiness, and so I was ending up taking sometimes 3 to 5 days off between weightlifting, and that wasn't good at all for endorphins and just the soreness coming back. So once I got past that inflammation and could exercise every other day or have a couple of days of rest in between, I noticed the workout endorphins really kicking in from lifting again. I also teased my nervous system with bringing running back, so getting endorphins from a runner's high, that was a welcome development as well. And one of my top favorite things that always happens for me whenever I have client breakthroughs, I get such a relief from the joy of seeing people get their lives back, and there were several of those the week before this, so I was riding high from that. And I also had a business development that's going to allow me to help a lot more people, so I'm just ecstatic thinking about the possibilities there. And lastly, the other big thing I always look forward to this time of year is January 16th is my 6th anniversary of starting to get better. So I always do a big review there and get excited about all the progress I made during a year. So I had a ton of good feelings going during this period before I had the pain breakthrough. All these endorphins are without a doubt what put me over the top, because this is my long-term pattern. Anytime I've had a major breakthrough with symptoms or pain, it was always whenever I reached some new level of happiness or achievement. So the big question is, how have I been doing since the big pain breakthrough? And the answer is tremendous. Each of the days since, I have had all-time great days for my pain. It's been 1 hour or less of negative pain and symptoms, and it's only in like the 1 to 2 range, and typically it's still in the morning. So it looks like this is a whole new level that I've reached. I'm absolutely thrilled about it. And on top of that, I've had really great gains with lifting here in the last week. I also have done really well recovering from my runs. I also went and had a DEXA scan done and confirmed that I put on 6.2 pounds more of muscle, so it's always good to see that objective data. And now my plan is to bring some more running in to help get my heart rate up and more cardio efficiently to burn off some more of that body fat and get down to the 10% range, hopefully by around June. The big takeaways from this for you are to figure out a routine that's safe for you, that doesn't flare you up. Because even if you haven't found or aren't addressing all the root causes of your health problems, you can still start to build a healthy foundation for improvement, and you'll start feeling better. And generate as much happiness for yourself as you possibly can, even if you're living a very limited life. You can start with things like having a conversation with a loved one, or snuggling your pet, or counting the laps that you're making around your house to show that you're making progress. All of this adds up for good biochemistry of endorphins, which is pain relieving and can further your recovery. When you get to bigger achievements and more happiness, you'll get even more biochemical help from the endorphins. I saw all of my biggest shifts whenever I was ecstatic about whenever I moved out of my parents' house after being disabled for 15 years, or whenever I started my business, or each time I saw a client's success. And this time, whenever I was on vacation with my family, getting to reflect on all the wonderful times and enjoying each moment with them, and thinking about all the new opportunities to help even more clients, that led to this breakthrough. My clients are so successful because I follow this model with them. I help them craft a daily routine that doesn't flare up their symptoms and pain. I help them find the root causes of dysfunction in a way that doesn't fire their nervous systems up. And I help them find ways to bring happiness into their lives wherever they can, no matter how limited they are. It's a comprehensive approach that's the best way out of a chronic health problem. Next up, I'll keep making short videos and sharing tips for dealing with chronic health problems in that kind of short form. The next longer video will be about my 6th recovery anniversary. If you want to see where I was coming from in year 5, go drop by recoverfromchronicillness.com and check the blog for an extended write-up. Thanks for watching! If you found this video valuable, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like help with your health, please visit recoverfromchronicillness.com to schedule a free call.